He taught millions to face chaos, building his life on the idea that meaning is forged through suffering, that responsibility is the antidote to despair, and that the only way to confront darkness is to stare it down without flinching. And then, quietly, he vanished. No farewell, no dramatic exit. The loudest, most debated voice of his generation simply disappeared. Jordan Peterson, clinical psychologist, Harvard professor, and author of one of the 21st century's most read books, had spent decades helping people navigate addiction, grief, and purposelessness. But what happens when the man who wrote the rules can no longer follow them himself, when his own body collapses into disorder? In 2025, Peterson was rushed to intensive care, unable to speak with his family for nearly a month. The man whose words held millions together had lost the ability to communicate. But this story begins not in a hospital, but in Fairview, Alberta, where a quiet boy asked questions so vast they would one day shake the Western world. Born in 1962, Jordan grew up in a modest household, surrounded by books and parents who valued learning. A librarian introduced him to writers like Solzhenitsyn and Orwell, works that forced him to confront human suffering and ideology, lessons that shaped his entire life. As a teen, he joined the political left, but soon realized the real question was not which party was right, but why humans repeatedly choose chaos and cruelty. He pursued political science at the University of Alberta, then psychology, earning a doctorate at McGill studying addiction and aggression. By 1991, he had built a framework to understand the darkest corners of the human mind. At Harvard, 1993-1998, he taught and researched personality, aggression, substance abuse, and belief. Students found him transformative. He made ideas feel alive, shaping how they lived. Returning to Canada, he continued teaching, treating patients, and developing lectures on mythology and meaning. In 1999, he published Maps of Meaning, a dense work on constructing meaning from chaos. Peterson remained a serious academic until 2016, when his YouTube videos opposing compelled speech on gender pronouns went viral. The response was explosive. University warnings, protests, media attacks, but millions connected with his message. By 2018, 12 Rules for Life sold 10 million copies, cementing him as one of the Western world's most influential public intellectuals. But such reach comes at a cost. The workload, public scrutiny, and unrelenting pressure began taking a toll on his health. His body, quietly and without warning, started sending signals it could not ignore. Starting in 2016, Peterson restricted himself to a meat-only diet to manage an autoimmune disorder and severe depression. By 2018, even vegetables were gone. The diet controlled some symptoms but isolated him socially and metabolically. At the same time, his wife Tammy faced a rare kidney cancer, Bellini duct carcinoma, initially deemed terminal. Peterson carried global fame in one hand and his family's survival in the other, and no one knew. Some burdens can't be faced with philosophy alone. In 2019, Peterson collapsed privately, triggered by a dangerous dependence on clonazepam for anxiety. Withdrawal became a tormenting ordeal, pushing his nervous system to its limits. Meanwhile, his wife Tammy's cancer returned. In late 2019, his family flew him to Moscow for a medically induced coma to stabilize him. Doctors found pneumonia in both lungs. After 8 days unconscious and a month in ICU, Peterson, once a commanding figure, now struggled with basic movement. Months of rehab followed. He returned in June 2020 on Michaela's podcast, fragile but still sharp. He had survived, but survival was just the beginning. Tammy's cancer treatment unexpectedly worked, and the family narrowly avoided losing her. In 2021, Peterson published Beyond Order, 12 More Rules for Life, a more personal work recognizing that too much order can suffocate. He resigned from the University of Toronto, joined the Daily Wire as a commentator, and launched the Peterson Academy online, offering high-quality educational content to a global audience. He relocated to Arizona, citing frustrations with Canada's regulatory environment. Expansion came, but so did new risks. In summer 2025, Helping clean his late father-in-law's house exposed Jordan Peterson to invisible mold, releasing biotoxins his body couldn't handle. Weeks later, his health collapsed. Diagnosed with chronic inflammatory response syndrome, CIRS, his immune system, a force meant to protect, turned against him. By late summer, inflammation led to pneumonia and sepsis. Peterson was rushed to the ICU for nearly a month, unable to speak. His daughter, Michaela Fuller, called it a near-death experience, worsened by her newborn's cardiac crisis. Nerve damage in the ICU left him unable to move with the precision he once commanded. Lecturer and debater reduced to struggling with his own limbs. By October, he left the ICU, remaining hospitalized until December, 5 months in total. He returned home to Paradise Valley, Arizona, alive but far from well. His daughter asked for patience and prayers, emphasizing that the man who had answers for everything now had none, only the slow, human work of healing. There is a silence that follows a loud life, the silence of a man who has said everything and fought every fight, now facing a struggle words cannot fix. Specialists continue to manage his neurological recovery, a non-linear process where progress comes gradually. Strength and willpower, once his tools, cannot force the body to heal. What remains are the essentials. Family. Michaela visits daily. Tammy, his wife of 35 years, stands by him, his son and grandchildren nearby. The Peterson Academy, co-founded with Michaela, continues without him at the center. He watches from home, quietly appreciating what he built. This chapter reveals the cost of carrying truth on a global scale. It is physical, accumulating in the body over time. Discipline and philosophy cannot fight a body pushed to its limits. But it also reveals human resilience, presence, love, and quiet dedication. Jordan Peterson's lifelong argument that suffering is the mechanism of meaning is now lived, not spoken, in the slow, patient, profoundly human work of recovery. He is living it in a bedroom in Arizona, on days when simply getting up is a battle, when neurological damage turns small tasks into mountains, when the silence is louder than any crowd he ever faced. If you followed this journey, from Fairview to Harvard, Moscow, Belgrade, and now the quiet of Paradise Valley, you've learned what no lecture could teach. The map of meaning is not a guarantee. It's a compass. Even the man who drew it must find his own way through the dark. If this story moved you, leave a like in tribute to a man still fighting. Subscribe to never miss the stories that matter. And tell us in the comments the one lesson from Peterson's life, not his books, but his life, you will carry forward. The greatest lesson he ever gave may not be written in any of his 12 rules. It may be this: keep going, even when the rules are not enough.